Am I the a-hole for replacing pictures of my cousins with pictures of my dog? My grandpa's birthday was a couple weeks ago. 6 weeks before his birthday, I texted all of my siblings and cousins, there's 9 of us, and told them to send me a picture of themselves within the next 4 weeks so I could put it on a phone case for our grandpa's birthday. 2 weeks later I sent the text again, saying I needed a picture of them and anybody that chooses not to send a picture will be replaced by a picture of my dog. I had 3 cousins tell me to screenshot something from their Instagrams. I didn't respond. I sent a text out the day before I put in the order saying anybody that did not send a picture of themselves in the next 24 hours would be replaced by pictures of my dog. The same 3 cousins never sent pictures. They're spots of my dog in a sombrero, my dog at the pumpkin patch, and my dog in a chicken costume. They came over for my grandpa's birthday and saw him open his new phone case. They saw that their pictures weren't on the case and got mad at me for not picking something off their Instagrams like they told me to. I said that I sent 3 reminders to send me a picture with a clear warning that anybody that did not send a picture would be replaced with a picture of the dog. They knew exactly what would happen. My grandpa finds it hilarious, but their parents are telling my parents that I kept them off the phone case on purpose and they want me to apologize. Am I the a-hole for replacing them with pictures of my dog because they never sent me a picture? NTA. Grandpa liked it. That's all that matters. NTA, and Grandpa finding it hilarious is a win. Also, who paid for it? Did you pay for it yourself, or did others chip in? Next story. Am I the a-hole for reminding my mom that my son is a child? My son was sick yesterday, and my mom offered to babysit for me since I couldn't miss work. For context, I 30F am a single mom because my husband passed away in an accident last year. We had 2 kids together, ages 12 and 8, and my 8 years have severe ADHD and autism. Being a newly single mom, money has been really tight and I do get state assistance but not a lot, and my husband didn't have life insurance so there was no money left to us from him. My mom and sister help me though with babysitting if the kids are sick or if there is no school cause I can't afford a sitter. The issues came when I told her I didn't have food to spare right now cause I haven't been able to go shopping yet and to please bring her own food or be prepped to have to buy herself food cause the food I have in the house is strictly for the kids till I can get to the store this weekend. We were all super sick last weekend and I don't live in a town with a grocery store and the closest one is a 30-minute drive. She said it would be easier to take my son to her house then, which I was okay with, but 8-year-old hates going to her house. When she comes to get him, he has a meltdown because he doesn't want to go to her house. I ask if she can just stay, and I can find a way to get more food before the weekend. She said no and insisted he had to come with her, and that made it worse. Now my mom has not had great patience, but her and my sister are the only sitters I have right now cause they don't charge me much, just the gas to get here. Well, she lost it and started yelling at me and him that she didn't have time for this and she had plans that day she canceled just to watch him. She didn't mention this to me when I asked. She also said, I quote, I wish we could trade lives and I could lay around and throw tantrums all day and you can go to work and just have everyone use you and take your money all the time. How much it must suck to be you and do whatever you want while I have to do nothing but take care of other people. I never borrow money from my mother, but my sister and grandma live with her and they don't work, so I know she is under a lot of stress and she takes it out on me a lot, calling me burden. Letting me know how much my tragic loss has affected her negatively. Calling me other names or yelling at me for things my sister or grandma do. I didn't yell or argue. I simply covered his ears and looked at her and went, Mom, he is 8. She lost it and screamed, fuck you then, miss work and lose money, I don't care, I am leaving, and then she left. Now she says she will not babysit for me again so I can know true struggle, which if she follows through means I have to miss a bunch of work or find a sitter I can trust that won't break my bank. So I am wondering, should I have cut her a break knowing she is under so much pressure, and I understand she is frustrated and needs to get it off her chest, but I feel like verbal punching bag and I don't want my kids to have to deal with that as well. Am I the a-hole? Update, my mom is banned from my place of work, and I will no longer be speaking to her, my grandma, and will be limiting contact with my sister. I was sent home early due to my emotional state. They showed up before my lunch break and demanded to talk to me, and when my boss said no, my mom lost it and started screaming at her so loudly I could hear down the hall from my classroom. She sent another staff member to get me to try to defuse the situation, but my mom only started screaming at me that I wasted her time and her gas because she was going to have to wait around all day for me. I told her I go to lunch at 12:15 p.m. every day and she showed at 10:30 a.m., while calling me all sorts of names and cussing with every other word. I asked if we could go outside to talk and she said that she no longer wants to talk to me and that she just came because my sister asked to her. I didn't know this. My sister made it seem like it was mom's idea on the phone. One of my coworkers is going to be retiring a week before Thanksgiving and told me she will watch my kids during school breaks after she retires for the same price I paid my mom after everyone got to see what my mother was like in person. She said she doesn't feel right having me keep her as a sitter after her behavior today, and she understands how hard being a widow is. She lost her husband when her kids were 10 and 14, but I had no idea until today since she never shared much about her personal life. We ended up having to talk to the police on my mother because she was refusing to leave, and they came and escorted her off the property. After they left, my sister called me to tell me my mom blocked me on everything and told her she no longer has 2 daughters, just one, and that my sister is forbidden from coming to see me or watching the kids while she lives with our mother. Luckily, she will be moving in with her fiancé after he gets back from deployment. Thank you for all the advice. I did apply online to Social Security but received an automated email response saying due to the federal shutdown the local office is closed. They will check my application as soon as someone returns to the office. Also, in case anyone wonders, my coworker's new childcare was a struggle for me but didn't have any advice to help me with childcare because most of them don't have kids, their kids are already grown. But the lady who offered to help is one of my favorite coworkers, and she has come over to help me make decorations for our classrooms at work, so she knows my kids and they really seem to like her whenever she came by to work on work things, and I know she is fully certified and trained to care for a special needs child as everyone at my place of employment is. NTA, but just a heads up, if you're in the US, your children should be eligible for survivor benefits from Social Security. Your 8-year-old may also qualify for services like respite care and possibly SSI benefits that would help cover the cost of an appropriate babysitter. NTA. From what you have said, I can understand why your 8-year-old doesn't like going to her house. As another commenter stated, she's allowed to have her feelings, but taking it out on you and your children? That's not healthy. For anyone. Think about it, she won't help a struggling widow with a special needs child because you don't have food to spare in your house right now, so you can know what it means to struggle. If you can't or are unwilling to help, say so, but don't use that teachable moment as an excuse. It's absolutely cruel. And I would reach out to a church. They may not be able to step in and actually help, but the pastor and the elders may very well know of resources that can help you. NTA. She is an adult. She's allowed to have her big feelings around other adults, but it's immature as hell and very damaging to take that out on an 8-year-old. You did the right thing in refusing to let her treat your child like that. For babysitting, do you have a church near you? They will probably try to convince you to join the church, that is unavoidably part of it, but they might have access to some kind of program to get temporary daycare access for single mothers. OP replies, my youngest son can't go to the daycare here because of his behavioral issues and them not having a para or funds to hire a para. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to get a second job? My husband and I both started our own businesses 20 years ago. They were moderately successful in that we weren't rich, but our financial needs have always been met up until the last 5 years. My husband's business is what most would consider a luxury service. When times are tough, people do without said service. My husband tried several things to keep his business afloat, including taking out some loans and made some bad investments that have left us in not the best financial state. At this point, it costs more to operate his business than he is profiting from it. The writing has been on the wall the past several months, and he's finally agreed it's time to close the doors. Now, I totally understand that this is something that is upsetting to him. This business was his dream, and you can't just let go of that mentally in a snap, especially not after 20 years. I have been very supportive and let him vent. I have encouraged him to go to therapy, though he has turned me down. I want to be as sensitive as possible. I wish my business were enough to keep us afloat until he was ready to figure out what he wanted to do next. Unfortunately, with all the bills we have, we can't afford for him to sit around and not do anything. Neither of us went to college, which does mean his options are limited. Going back to school isn't financially possible right now, nor does he want to do that. He'd have to have a boss, potentially work weekends and weird hours, all the things you get to avoid when you have your own business of 20 years. I get why this isn't appealing to him, but unfortunately, it's what he has to do. My husband has really pushed back on getting a new job. I've tried to be as sympathetic as possible, but again, we can't afford for him to sit home all day. We've talked about it several times. I show sympathy and empathy. Again, tell him to seek therapy. It always ends in an argument where I am told I am being unreasonable. The other day, my sister-in-law, his brother's wife, came over to talk to me. She spoke to me as if I were 5 years old and said I needed to give him a break. She said that I cannot expect him to go back to having a boss after 20 years. She suggested that I get a second job. With the hours I work, I'd never get to see my kids or husband at that point. I said I'm not going to do that. If my business went under, of course I'd go and get a different job, but it is unreasonable for everyone to expect me to work all these hours while my husband does nothing. His help with the housework and the kids has dropped since he had to close the business, so I doubt me working would change that, so I'd be working 7 days a week, plus all that. My sister-in-law just kept telling me that this is a sacrifice I should be making and that I am being unreasonable. Everyone else seems to agree, including my husband. I feel insane. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to get a second job and expecting him to get one? NTA. Explain to me exactly how it is unreasonable to want my husband to contribute a fair share to the family income and her workload? Explain to me exactly how it is reasonable to expect me to get a second job while there is a perfectly able-bodied person who's basically just sitting his arse on the couch? NTA at all. He can't be expected to have a boss after 20 years? You can't be expected to lose your financial security, time, energy, and maybe your home to his pity party. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share and subscribe the channel our posts.